Hey John, it's Colin. Now, Chris and Brandon were talking about some of the search engine stuff, and I've done a lot of that for us. And I'm actually working with a business coach who's specializes more in marketing and media stuff. But I wanted to share a couple things. You asked a question about creating a page called Beautiful Luxury Home Plans. Could we do that? Absolutely. I mean, we're the grunts. We can do whatever you ask us to. But I also want to make sure any efforts, are going to help you out. Rerouting, I think that's personally a dangerous thing to do. I haven't actually heard of it being done. I'm sure there's other people out there, but it is a level of almost spoofiness that could come back. With all you're getting back into Google, I certainly wouldn't want to harm that. I was going to suggest that we could create a page called Beautiful Luxury Home Plans, add it to your site, and then put some fresh content in that page just regarding some of your beautiful luxury home plans. Make it focused on that instead of, and I'll tell you why. Um, your home page for many sites. Here's an example. I did a search on fantasy castles. Okay, mansions, because that's what one of your pages. That's the title tag in your in one of your pages. As a matter of fact, in your fantasy castles page, that's the title tag you're using. And guess what? When somebody searches using your title tag, you come up bang right here, and you also come up in Pinterest and whatnot. So the inner pages within your site are actually not only you back in Google, but some of those title tags that are you're using, you hit the number one spot, which is kind of cool. But that doesn't mean you're getting traffic to those pages, because maybe the title tags aren't focused enough, or they're keywords that people aren't using. Um, you know. It could be a lot of things. We have a lot of pages in our site, what we call low-hanging fruit, and it'll grab the attention of people, but maybe not a whole lot. But we're talking about the um, beautiful luxury home plans, renaming or creating a page or renaming your index page and having some sort of HT access that redirects it and whatnot. Like I said, we have a server guy, Brandon, who understands that sort of stuff more than I do. But anytime you try and um, trick Google into by using page names or anything, and they try and pick up on that, it can always cause harm, right? And that's what I'd be afraid of. However, right, you can certainly add a page to your site called Beautiful Luxury Home Plans and link to it and have fresh content on that page talking just about beautiful page. So just make sure it's content that is different from what's on your index page, and it's more focused on what the name of the page is, right? Without using any, you know, tricky methods to try and raise it up. Uh, I wanted to give the example I wanted to give is Dreamweaver templates. Okay, all right. This is one of our primary things. Our ad comes up right here at the top, and we actually come up right down here at the bottom of the page as well, but not our home page. Our home page doesn't come up for Dreamweaver templates. It's our Dreamweaver templates page that comes up. Okay, so if we click on that, you see we have a page, Dreamweaver templates, and that's what we talk about on this page here. Okay, and that's more what I was thinking might be a safer idea for you. Create a page called Beautiful Luxury Home Plans, have it in your site, link to it, link your Pinterest and whatnot to it, and then you might get a better boost overall than what your home page is getting for that particular key term. Okay, trying to do an htaccess file and change the page name, it just smells of trouble, and I don't want you to get into any more trouble. Getting booted out of Google and getting back in, that's a whole lot of headache nobody needs to go through. The other thing is, which really worried me, was you're so close. Here you are, Beautiful Luxury Home Plans. You're in position 11 from when I checked on Google. So you're actually, yesterday you were on page 1 for me at the very bottom, and today you're sort of at the top of page 2. So you'd be, as most listings, you get moved around a little bit. Okay. So you're really not that far off. I certainly wouldn't want to do anything that would push you back even further, because really you're just on the cusp. It's not what necessarily what you're doing. you're now at the point of what are your competitors doing? What are these people that are in front of you? Because there's only 10 of them. What are they doing to get a better ranking for that key term? And that could be a whole bunch of other things, obviously things not in your control. But what I did want to suggest was just create a page all by itself, and eventually that page may get up better. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing I was going to suggest, I don't know if Brandon mentioned this, I thought he had, but I want to show you when anybody comes to me, I do all the in-house support for the actual template itself. When somebody comes to me and says, how do I get better search rankings? Or do you guys do SEO or anything like that? I say, no, we don't. I go to a place called Search Engine News, okay, and I try and keep myself fairly up to date. So when I'm building templates, at least the stuff I'm putting in the templates has, it's fairly current and it supports what's going on at that point in time. Of course, it changes all the time. But one thing I want to recommend, or what I do recommend for everybody is, you can sign up for like $1 for a trial. Okay, it's a 7-day trial, but in that trial, you could probably get, or you can download the Unfair Advantage SEO book. Okay, and this is a great tool. I call it fairly unbiased because you are paying for it. So unbiased means that, in my opinion, the information is not really geared towards trying to sell their services. It's just a book about what's currently going on in the SEO world. Okay. And then you can maybe find out or learn some things. Like, I see that you're active in a lot of social media, and that's excellent. One of the things I was noticing, I didn't know if you had an Instagram account. The business coach, the media coach that we have, she's a big Twitter and Instagram. And seeing how you can take pictures and pop them up to Instagram, and she says those are the two social networks that are sort of the highest hitters. And what's happening, in her opinion, today with getting better rankings and where people are falling behind in their rankings, if over the last 6 years, if you've sort of fallen down the ladder, right, you're not where you used to be. What has happened is Google and search engines are now much more focused on the conversations that are happening within social media. So within Twitter, within Facebook to some degree, Instagram, Pinterest, a lot of those things you're already doing. Google is monitoring that. So it used to be how many incoming links, how much text you had on your page, how many keywords, and now it seems to be, and I'm not an expert in this at all, this is just information I'm passing along from the people that we work with, and that is that Google is now, or search engines now seem to be adding to their search algorithms the amount of engagement and conversation that is happening on social networks. So the more you're talked about, the more conversation there is about you, the better ranking that you could get for your website, because if people are talking about you, obviously there's interest in you, therefore your website would be interesting as well, I guess. I'm not really sure how it all works, but the Unfair Advantage book, which I read, last time I read it was about 4 months ago, and social media was a fairly large part of what helping get your rankings and getting into social media and some of the different things that you can use or help to use to get out there. And now you're already doing that, like I said, but you're position 11 for the keyword you want, so you're really not that far off. You're kind of at the point, in my opinion, where it's not necessarily you, it's what those 10 people in front of you are doing, and then it's a matter of getting really tough and figuring out, oh man, okay. What you can also do is WooRank.com. Okay, and this is a pretty good place for figuring out what sort of social media and things are going on with your site that can be improved upon. It gets pretty detailed though. But as far as your request, like I said, not a problem. We can do that. I just didn't want to create it and replace your index page and do some sort of back end thing that reroutes it, because I don't think that's going to help at all. Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know, but it's almost, that is trying to do something that is not natural. And I know for a fact If you're trying to do things that are not natural in terms of search engines, at some point in time it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. However, you certainly can create an additional page, call it luxury, beautiful luxury home plans, and then you can link to that page. You can have separate content. The images can be the same, but the content itself, the words, the title, the descriptions, that could be different, right? So it's a separate page all on its own. And then, you can get that page. That page might even surpass, like I said, when it comes to Dreamweaver templates, I tried to give you an example there. Our main website page, our i3dthemes.com, doesn't rank super well for that key term, but our Dreamweaver templates page does, right? And that's the most important thing to us, is getting at least one page up there. And for you, just something to think about. Maybe it's not your index page and for that particular key term that you want to have ranked the highest. Maybe it's a special page, and that way you're working within the scope of what Google considers white SEO, right? Because you're putting content about luxury homes on a page called luxury home plans, and you've got images for those, and that's all up and up above board. There's nothing funky going on in the background with htaccess files. And then you can use your social networks and whatnot to link images to those pages, and move things up the ladder. But anyways, I just wanted to share that bit of information, especially about the Unfair Advantage book. If you haven't done that book, thing's great. It takes about 2 to 3 hours of your time, I know, but if it's time that you can, for me, it's at least good to know what's going on. And then you can decide on what sort of things you think may be the best, or where you may need some help.